The man offered food to the beggar, but was grabbed by the neck by him. But the man pinned beneath him didn't know. A more horrifying scene unfolded. He struggled to push the beggar away, but the monster had already transferred into him. The beggar, who could have moved in just a few minutes, turned into a dried corpse. What on earth happened? The story goes back to 1814. After Napoleon's defeat, a group of soldiers were expelled from the province of Illyria. Unfortunately, they couldn't find their way and were starving, and then they mistakenly entered the forests of Serbia. They groped their way forward. Suddenly, a peasant woman appeared before them, leading a horse by the reins. The peasant woman actually handed them the reins. After a moment of eye contact, they hesitantly led the horse away, but there was a strange glint in the woman's eyes. The two men led the horse back to their group. Due to their hunger, they decided to slaughter the horse for meat. The horse suddenly exploded, revealing a peculiar-looking monster hidden inside its stomach. The soldiers scattered and fled in all directions. In the end, the entire team was wiped out. Hundreds of years passed in the blink of an eye. A team of oil explorers ventured deep into the mountains of Serbia. According to geological data, beneath this abandoned factory lay a massive oil field. However, exploration had not yet begun. A storm suddenly arrived. Flash floods destroyed the communication tower and roads. The team is trapped in the depths of the mountains. Luckily, the team had prepared enough food supplies in advance to last until the weather improved. After setting up the camp, the team quickly got to work. But as soon as the drilling machine started, the leader, Emily, smelled a foul smell of rotten eggs. Because of concerns about machine malfunctions, Emily hurriedly called for a halt. After inspection, no issues were found, and the smell disappeared. She then instructed the machine to resume, but this time smoke emerged. Emily quickly waved to stop. Strange noises came from below, like some kind of animal, accompanied by the smell of burning organic matter. Two members of the environmental protection team made a suggestion. They believed that continuing would pollute the environment. They suggested Emily stop the drilling machine. Teddy is even more outrageous. He actually suggested that everyone should just deal with the increasing amount of garbage when they have nothing to do. Emily told him to dig a garbage pit. Teddy even proposed sorting the garbage on site. This idea was agreed upon by the environmental team. Emily had nothing more to say, and had to explain to them that a massive drilling platform would be set up here, and it was legally permitted. You go ahead and dig the pit and bury the garbage. Teddy left obediently. Emily instructed her subordinates to stop the water pump and pull out the drill bit. To their surprise, the drill bit came out with a strange reddish substance. Emily thought they had accidentally hit an animal's nest, but Nicola felt that the situation was more complicated. Geological data for this area indicated that below should be a layer of rock, but the drill had already gone several meters deep. In theory, there shouldn't be any animals living there. Nicola then collected some samples for research. On the other side, Teddy and Sophia were preparing to deal with the garbage. The two started chatting. Sophia has a double major in biology and zoology. Nicola is her professor. At this moment, Danko finished smoking and started digging the pit. The two became more and more excited as they chatted. Teddy accidentally glanced at the pit and immediately shouted to stop Danko. Everyone looked down to check. There was something squirming in the big pit, emitting a foul smell. Others also rushed over upon hearing the news. They all gathered around the pit to look. Suddenly, a hand reached out from the pit. He then desperately tore open the mucus to breathe oxygen. He was saying something with his mouth. Emily recognized that it was French. Someone who understood French translated for everyone. The man was shouting for help. The eerie scene made everyone's scalp tingle, but they didn't hesitate to help. They still brought the man back to the camp. However, John was a bit wary. He believed the man's origins were unclear, and he could even survive alone in the soil. There might be something unclean on him. He suggested Emily lock him up in an abandoned building, but Emily disagreed. Instead, she started arranging the next steps. She asked Danko and Philip to drive, to go to the place where the road was blown up, to see if there were any rescue personnel. At the same time, Teddy gave the strange man a glass of water. He seemed to want to tell them something, but due to the language barrier, they didn't understand what each other was saying. In a moment of urgency, he grabbed Teddy, repeating something in his mouth, seemingly describing some horrifying scene. Seeing the man agitated and restless, Nicola tried to calm him down, but unexpectedly saw something wriggling in the man's nostrils. There seemed to be something moving. This scene terrified Nicola. He turned to look at Sophia and Teddy, but Teddy thought it was just snot. However, Nicola firmly believed that. He saw tentacles. The man also seemed to realize something. He suddenly calmed down and said something. Teddy explained that. The man said there was something inside him. Seeing Emily approaching, knowing she was the leader of the team, he immediately said something to her, and gestured a throat-cutting motion with his hand. This time everyone finally understood the man's intention. He was asking everyone to kill him. Nicola called the two of them out. Something had just flowed out of his nose, like meat but still alive. Sophia suggested after listening, should we take his blood, skin and samples for comparison? Nicola also agreed. As a biology professor, he was now very excited. There might be hidden inside the man some kind of undiscovered organism. In no time, Sophia brought sampling tools, and the rest gathered to watch. Nicola first collected skin samples, then John held the man to collect blood samples.
Whoa. John, get back!
This time they could see clearly. There was indeed a strange organism inside the man. Considering the man might be dangerous, Emily placed him in a separate room, waiting for the flood to recede, then to send the man down the mountain. While Teddy sympathized with the man, he cooked food for him. John also believed they should follow his suggestion, to let him commit suicide, as he also didn't want parasites crawling out of the body. What if they infested others? Later, John returned to the broken building with food, to take over guarding the man from Emily. But this was about to turn into a tragic beginning. The man immediately started eating when given the food, while John pulled out a knife. He immediately demanded upon seeing it. John pretended to hear a sound and turned to look, intentionally letting the man grab the knife. He held the dagger close to his neck, but it seemed like a mysterious force was preventing him. No matter how hard the man tried, the knife just couldn't get closer. Suddenly, several tentacles surged out of the body. John felt shocked. He immediately went forward to strangle the man's neck, but he didn't expect the man to be incredibly strong, and pinned John down, tentacles emerging from behind his body, then entering John's mouth. When the monster completely burrowed into John's body, the man had turned into a dried-up corpse. John panicked but tried to remain calm. He went to the dining room and found Emily. After inspecting the body, they were deeply shocked, but John didn't mention the parasite. When asked if he touched the body, he lied, saying he had given a sandwich, and went to the bathroom, and when he returned, the man had turned into a corpse. However, Emily said that the stench wasn't coming from the dried corpse, but from John himself. After deliberation, they decided not to bury the dried corpse, to allow authorities to investigate. Sophia and Nicola planned to continue researching the man. Emily didn't say anything. Instead, she let them go in and see for themselves. After viewing the body, they gathered in the office. Nicola observed cells and DNA and discovered, besides malnutrition, there were no differences from an ordinary person, but the skin biopsy yielded results. There were eukaryotic cells on it, but definitely not human. After identification, it was found to belong to a type of algae, known as a type of diatom called insect yellow algae. They live within the tissues of other organisms, coexisting with their hosts in a mutualistic symbiosis. Nicola and Sophia were very excited. This was groundbreaking research. With this organism, the man could survive underground. If it could be extracted, it would have many benefits. The two were optimistic about this. They also mentioned, the substance extracted from the drill was organic live tissue, with a high similarity to octopus DNA called algo. Moreover, the mucus enveloping the man's body resembled an eggshell. In other words, a hatching chamber. Therefore, these findings led Nicola to believe that this organism was a highly evolved species. Given that the human shell had died, they presumed it had perished as well. What they didn't know was, the monster had already found a new host. On the other side, John returned to the dorm, and frantically looked in the mirror, drawing the attention of his roommates. John didn't say much. Instead, he voluntarily brought up the man unearthed from underground, mentioning that the man was contagious.
He had something in him. Now I think it's in me.
His roommate asked what it was, but John claimed not to understand. He only knew it emerged from the man's nose and mouth, and then entered his own body. However, his roommate did not believe this. John then asked him to smell his own scent. Only then did the roommate speak up. He was hesitant to say. John hadn't showered in days, and the smell of rotten eggs on him was too strong. John insisted that this was the effect of the monster. His roommate couldn't stand his nagging, so he challenged John to an arm wrestle, thinking perhaps the creature would move to him if he won. Naturally, the roommate won, but then he started to mock John, being influenced by the creature. He punched his roommate directly. He was no match for the other, and got beaten up instead. However, no one expected that the alien creature inside John's body seemed to sense emotional changes, and unexpectedly launched an attack. With one blow it killed the roommate. John looked at the scene before him, too shocked to speak. Yet again he chose silence. The next morning, John dragged his roommate's body, planning to bury him in a pit. At this moment, he saw a car coming over, so he immediately tried to drag the body inside. However, his co-workers saw him. They noticed blood on John's body, and then spotted the body bag behind him. Denki heard something moving under the car. He bent down to look, but he didn't expect the creature to jump into his body. Teddy knew he was parasitized. He raised a pistol to end his life, but his will involuntarily shifted. Emily and the others rushed over at the sound. Denki asked his companion to shoot him, but Emily just took the gun, then quickly went to the car. She saw the bodies of 3 companions. Her husband John had been blown into pieces. Emily had to be strong to take control of the situation. She instructed 2 people to go to the storage room to collect the bodies of their companions in boxes. Then she approached Denki to ask for clarification. Only then did she learn that John, after being parasitized by the creature, killed his roommate and Philip, and the strange creature eventually ran into Denki's body. Confirming that Denki was also parasitized, they were so shocked that they couldn't speak. Denki once again asked his companion to kill him, but no one was willing to do it. After that, Sophia collected John's flesh without gloves. She was a brave warrior. They first took Denki back to the camp. Teddy wanted to make the creature's incident public, but Emily disagreed. She didn't want to cause panic among the staff, and they didn't know if the rest of the personnel were infected. Let the professionals study this organism now. At this moment, the rest of the team arrived. Lucas said to Emily, "Danko is still attempting suicide, and his mental state is not quite right. This is a huge risk. We must resolve this quickly now." Of course Emily disagreed. Luca then gave Emily an hour to come up with a better plan. Otherwise, they will proceed with their own plans. This time it's Danko who's locked inside the dilapidated building, next to the dried-up corpse of a man. Emily asked about the size of the bugs. After sensing, Danko said they are very small, but they can grow to the size of an apple when clustered together. But under pressure, they grow even larger, trying to fill all available space, like an octopus trying to squeeze through a small hole. Additionally, Danko said the bugs can sense the presence of other people, as when he aimed at John with the gun. Before pulling the trigger, the bug escaped from John. On the other side, after observing the samples, Sophia suddenly exclaimed, then started searching through the books, as if she had found something. Emily pulled Teddy to the corner. She made a new discovery. This strange bug is only interested in males, ignoring her and Sophia completely. Perhaps women's bodies are of no use to the monster. Its hatching and survival depend on men. At this moment, Nicola came to check on Danko's condition, with a smile on his face.
Take it out of me! It's a miracle.
After Nicola's explanation, everyone finally understood that the men underground were forcibly impregnated by the large bugs, resulting in fertilized eggs combining both sets of genes. The fertilized eggs were then injected into the men's bodies and buried in the soil. When Danko unearthed them, the hatching process was also completed. Now the baby is inside Danko, requiring his protection to continue growing. Nicola, this mad scientist, actually demanded that Danko protect and nurture the monster, like a mother to the monster, until it can survive on its own. These words immediately sparked anger among the group. Sophia reminded the teacher that this is just a parasite, but Nicola still didn't listen to reason, even feeling betrayed by his apprentice. He finally threatened that if anyone dared to harm the creature, he would fight them to the end. 1 hour later, Emily met Luca again, and they planned to walk to the forest, stating they would take Danko to the police station. Emily agreed, but also reminded them to watch out for Nicola. In reality, they all knew they were planning to take Danko to the forest to kill him, leaving Teddy feeling unsettled. Emily then let go of Danko, hinting to them as she left that when they killed Danko with a gun, they should leave enough space. Unfortunately, they only thought it was a highly contagious virus, never imagining it was a monster, nor grasping the implications. While Sophia comforted Teddy, Luca's team had already taken Danko up the mountain, with Danko also asking them to stay back. They still didn't take it seriously. Danko walked to the tree. Everyone loaded their guns, and with a gunshot, Danko's body instantly exploded into a mass of flesh and blood. The woman felt shocked, as being shot wouldn't cause an explosion, so they went forward to investigate. Then they searched the surroundings. Suddenly, Someone shouted in pain and fell to the ground. It turned out that he was joking. The next second, the strange bug pounced on his face. His companions tried to shoot the bug, but accidentally shot the man in the head. The professor who was locked up heard the sound. Thinking the bug was killed, he actually cried in sorrow. This is the miracle and future of nature's evolution. Yet humans by their own will kill them. Humans are the true parasites of nature. But his next words were even more terrifying. Octopuses lay hundreds or even thousands of eggs. On the other side, the remaining members rushed over. One of them immediately chose to end his own life. The little monster sought a new host again. A bald man came to the tree, and upon hearing a sound he looked up. A monster resembling an octopus landed directly on his head. The woman hurried over upon hearing screams, and upon making eye contact, she directly killed her teammate. The little monster couldn't parasitize females, so it fled, preparing to find another opportunity. The woman kept shooting at the monster, nearly hitting Luca instead. This also led to a misunderstanding on his part, a shot that ended the stalemate. He crouched down to assess the situation. Soon after he heard the monster's cry from behind, and in no time, Luca arrived in front of everyone armed. Emily realized something was wrong, and immediately signaled the other two to leave. But Professor Nicola still approached to inquire, where did the monster inside Danko's belly go? Luca didn't say a word and walked away. Soon after they climbed the mountain again, and Nicola persisted in asking, where did the bug go? Luca still remained silent, until Nicola's questioning annoyed Luca. He stopped and said to Emily, they didn't listen to Danko, which led to the team's destruction, and he was also parasitized by the monster. He couldn't take the monster home, because he has 5 children at home, and things have come to this point. Nicola kept asking Luca to raise the monster, but Luca refused. He finished his last words to Emily, asking her to tell his wife that he drowned, and then walked into the water under everyone's gaze. After he drowned, his body exploded, revealing the monster. Sophia told the teacher to leave the dangerous spot, but the next moment he was entwined by tentacles. Nicola kept begging the students to save him, and shouted to kill the monster. With one stroke, the teacher's intestines have come out. Emily immediately told her son Teddy to run. She held back the monster. The octopus monster emerged from the body, jumping onto her face, but upon realizing she was female, it immediately looked into the distance, and swiftly attacked after locking onto a target. In an instant it caught up with the two. At the end of the story, Teddy sat in the bathtub lost in thought, with Sophia by his side, and a newspaper at their feet reading. Exploration team experiences mysterious incident, resulting in the deaths of 10 people. Clearly, the parasite had already infiltrated Teddy's body. The latest horror movie Hellhole. Although the movie appears a bit crude in production, perhaps due to insufficient funding, but the plot and setting are quite intriguing. Are humans truly parasites of the earth? How should such beings be dealt with? Similar themes are present in the masterpiece Parasite. When a creature that feeds on humans emerges in the world, should it be allowed to survive naturally? Or should efforts be made to eradicate it against nature? Perhaps everyone has their own thoughts on this matter. However, in this movie the professor talks but doesn't act. In stark contrast to the mayor in Parasite, it takes courage to destroy one's own kind. When others are infected, he surprisingly remains indifferent, even encouraging victims to raise the parasites. When it's his turn to be parasitized, he completely changes his stance, crying out to his students to kill the beloved new creature, which is truly ironic. If you enjoy my channel, please consider subscribing.